Blessed love, this is Jah Lion King, you know. Breathe up and out and build gently. Yeah, man. Breathe Jah Lion King, up and out and build gently. Give thanks to life, give thanks to health and strength, you know. Give thanks to positiveness, give thanks to consciousness, give thanks to righteousness, give thanks to love. Give thanks to Irish Flathead, Jah, Rastafari, you know. Universal love, you know, one and all, you know. And give thanks to all good things and all abundance and all blessing and then I approach in a new year, you know. I'm praying for everyone to be conscious, more righteous, more loving, more caring, more sympathetic, loving each other, you know, and caring for each other, you know, because God is love and love is God, you know, so let us all love, you know. And remember, love is the key that opens all doors, no matter what race or nation. Love is the key that opens the door for only Mount Sinai. And whosoever enter in, ever live in life shall have, you know. So love is the key, you know. So peace and love to the world, you know, and blessing and prosperity and joy and happiness and goodness for the 2024. Coming from Andrew Priest, Jah Lion King. And if you want to contact I, 347-444-4460. Give thanks to life. Jah Rastafari, Holy Emmanuel I Selassie. Jah Rastafari, Holy King Emmanuel Scepter. Jah Rastafari, heal the mighty, heal the strong, and the might, I am the I am. Holy John, Marcus, Messiah, Gabi, I, Selassie, Jah Rastafari. Olivet, you are fearful, you are sure. My Lord, we know people are Selassie, Jah. Jah, give thanks, and give the lion. My Lord,
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghair maghdubi alayhim. Wala dwalleen. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Sonata Kamara, co-founder of Temple Mother Earth, sending love, peace, and abundance prayer to everyone around the world.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Sheikh Sufi Ba, SheikhSufi@gmail.com, CHEIKHSUFI@gmail.com. Opening prayer for the greatest shaman that I know in the West, Brother Ankh, Rising Sun. A'udhu billahi bismillahi inna waliyullahu. A'udhu billahi bismillahi inna waliyullahu. A'udhu billahi bismillahi inna waliyullahu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin al-Fatihi lima ulika wal-Katimi lima sabaka Nasir al-Haqi bil-Haqi wal-Hadi ila siratika al-Mustaqim وعلى آله حق قدره والمقداره العظيم.
Beloved mighty and present, great hosts of sitting and ascended masters, great angelicals, great cosmic beings who govern the system of worlds and the seven mighty beings. Lord, we call upon your grace to heal the earth of the actions of the sinister forces. Their plan is to eliminate the population in the most horrible and murderous ways. They have already poisoned our food with things we can't even pronounce. They poison the water with fluoride. They poison the air with chemtrails. They have poisoned the medicine with side effects that will kill you if you take it. And they have poisoned the technology against mankind. They have weaponized all these things against mankind. We call upon your grace to free us from the sinister forces whose diabolical plan is to make this world the most hellish place. America, which was the light of the world, that was brought to the world, established in this world, to make every human being here ascendant, and then to have that spread throughout the world. Lord, we ask you to incarnate in this very planet, incarnate in mass, incarnate with sitters and ascended masters, with divine beings of every type, to bring in revolutions of meditation, revolution of mantra repetition, revolution of chanting, revolution of spreading love and light, revolutions of knowledge. Lord, we call upon you to empower us with our divine selves, so that we can rid the world of these very sinister forces whose aim is to do nothing but create this place to be a Sodom and Gomorrah. We already know that Earth is the most wicked planet in the universe. Let us turn it to be the light of the world, so that it is the greatest planet in the universe, so that we excel even what is happening in the great central sun. As a matter of fact, Lord, we ask all the beings from the great central sun to incarnate on the earth, to incarnate on the earth, to incarnate on the earth within us, so that we could do the work that I'm begging for now. Oh Lord, I ask this in the name of Swami Muktananda Paramahansa, Bhagavan Nityananda, Guru Maha Chivilasananda, beloved Saint Germain, Lord Jesus the Christ, Lord Buddha, Allah, and the great Sundar Kumar. Almighty I am, Almighty I am, Almighty I am.
Aboru aboye aboshishe alafia ubuntu assalamu alaikum assalamu alongo sanda om namah shivaya. I give you praise in the main shalom. Whatever your wonderful beliefs and your system of beliefs is, we give praise. But we give praise to the Olodumare, the Olorun, the Somole, the Agbamole, Efunfuni, Legi, Kuku, Tekunani, Samujuano, what Deo Room, Mojuba, Mudemo, Male, Mafon, Matibo, Jo. We give praise to the God who is the owner of today, the owner of yesterday, and the owner of all days to come. He to whom the Rumole and Agbamole exist to know his laws and command, originating creator, all things discovered and yet to be discovered. We give praise to our grand, powerful ancestors, those wise ones who come, give us directions, light, love, and help us to be able to receive the benefit in our life. We ask that you be able to embrace the great divinity of Rumila, the one who is witness creation, second only to all Damari, the owner of medicine, more powerful than medicine, the immense orbit that fought the day of death. He too who is the perfect in the house of wisdom. He is able to heal and to regenerate you creatures of ill luck and bring them perfectly back into homeostasis, understanding, light, and love, and helping you to embrace the love of the universe as we give praise to all the creatures of the universe, everything that moves and reverberates, and the vibration that moves in your life. Allow you to find goodness, allow you to find health and vitality, strength, to move forward for the accomplishment of all the goals that you have set for you and your family. My name is Babalao Oluwole Abiyomi Fakunle Adetuti Ronkolo de Manyansa. My nickname is Babalao of Harlem. We send greetings to you today. As you at www.ifakunle.com, you can reach me and we will talk. Peace.
O Great Spirit, Great Mystery, sending a prayer of peace to this world, to all the humans, a prayer of peace to all of us. May we remember how to be good relations, may we remember how to be good brothers and sisters, sending a prayer of love to the heart of the earth. Thank you, Mother, for loving us so much. Thank you for being so forgiving with us. Thank you for being so patient with us. May your light reach all the beings that are suffering right now. May your light, may your love reach their lives. May your light guide them in the right direction. May your love give them strength for them to keep walking, living. Sending prayers to all of you, my family. May we always remember to be together, that we are all one big family, that all of us belong to this earth. Thank you, Mother. Hi, familia. My name is Osvaldo Pomaquiza. I come from Ecuador, and I want to invite you to sit with me. I serve a Grandfather Wachuma. My phone number is 201-981-4545. Feel free to text me, call me, and I also give you thanks for this space. Thank you so much. I love you.
You know what they say, the bottom of the pot's always the best, Brother Hank.
Coconut raw, God bless the cook, and the time it took. What you got there? What kind of soup you have here?
Today, it's black beans, my brother.
Black beans.
Black beans. See that look?
My
You
God.
got the bottom of the pot, baby.
What's good about black beans,
Oh, man, anything black. You know what's good about it.
Oh,
We shouldn't be saying anything about anything black other than black.
oh.
Other than black.
What else? What else you got in here,
So
man?
we got some butternut squash. We got some red lentils to help thicken the broth. We've got also in there the bell peppers, red bell peppers, green bell peppers, purple bell peppers, sweet potatoes, and we did it until it melted. Also the Rulo burro bananas, we did that too as well. And we're gonna dress this up for you with some baby bok choy.
Ooh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
make it look nice and enticing.
And what days are you here, Coconut Rob?
Today, this week, I think I'll be here all week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But soups, let's do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm also put some sprouts in there for you too as well. I mean, come on.
Have mercy.
Gotta keep Brother Hank healthy.
Man, you gonna keep the neighborhood healthy, brother. All right. What's your contact info?
347-243-1678. I do things the old-fashioned way. No emails, none of that stuff. Just call me.
Yeah,
let's have
yeah.
a conversation.
Yeah, right
You know
on.
what I mean?
Family, I am here with a magical moment of young musicians. And this is Kim, Sister Kim, and she has a message about investing into the future musicians of our community. Sister Kim, tell us what you got here.
Hi everyone, Kim, proud parent of children at the Big Apple Leadership Academy for the Arts. We teach HBCU high-stepping marching band to our kids from age 5 and up. It is a free after-school program, tuitionless, and it's open to all. Our kids are amazing. If you can, jump on our website. We're looking for support, donations. Our kids need new instruments so that they can high step on. Our website is www.bola.org, BALAA.org. And I appreciate the time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And so, family, listen up close. We're talking about investing in the artists of tomorrow. By investing in them, if you have a little expendable change to invest in the youth, the genius, this is the opportunity. And in this description on this video will be the details of sending your donation to PayPal or Zelle or Cash App.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for your support. Our children are the future.
Out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Crystals and pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember, always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am. Love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. Thank you to all the healers, all the prayer warriors, all concerned crystal Jedi projectors. Thank you for helping to make the healing circle, the group healing grow. Thank you to all those who will be thinking about joining to make the difference. Everyone is invited to this gathering guided by ascended masters to collectively, with our personal voltage and cosmically, make the world a better place and healing individually and collectively, acting local while we're thinking and praying globally for a better world, a better future, a better destiny. Okay, greetings and welcome, family. Thank you for being patient with the prayer invocations from the various Jedi Masters of the world. You know, coming up on 2024, we're going to have to chant our I am crystallization throughout this year, because those who already are in places of power have plans and an agenda for the mass population. Special acknowledgement to our brother Elder Wayne Chandler, and also to our elder Baba Phil Valentine, who speak about the chicken farm prison planet agenda to mass inoculate, eliminate, transmutate, deviate. So the only thing we have left, as my distant cousin Babalao Ifakunle said, is our science and our magic. And that's what this channel is all about. Family, you know the routine. Welcome. And wherever you are listening from, please let us know in the comments so that we can share. All right. Dr. Shreya, can't wait. Danielle Scott, I am. West Sum. Greetings. Okay. Appreciate your greetings. Virginia's in the house. All right. Oh, Sir Charles is, I'm allowing myself to be enough. Well, blessed be, brother. Take some shrooms too and see if you let the shrooms show you how much you can allow. Welcome back. Peace and love to all. Peace and love to all. Georgia's in the house. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Melbourne, Australia. I want to thank all of you for being born. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for surviving the airport adolescence of youth. Have a lot of exciting things to share. This Sunday, if you're in the tri-state area, we're going to have a sipping tea, magnet massage me party. I'm going to share with you the latest technology to kickstart the DNA of our magic within. These are magnets customized from my Nuke Poo Nuke that will activate. I'm so excited. Let me calm down. This helps to remove pain, magnetize water, tea, juice. And this is sacred geometry. This is with gold-plated neodymium hexagonal magnets. And we are going to literally have a tea party, and we're going to have our tea, Kinkaliba tea. So as you continue to listen, let us know in the chat what part of the world you're listening from. And the I am in me acknowledges the I am in you, regardless of what language you want to use. I want to acknowledge Ascended Masters, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, Sheikh Ibrafal, Simeon Toko, Sanat Kumara, Yeshua, Black Madonna, Mother Mary. I want to acknowledge Gatekeeper of Mount Shasta in Northern California, entrance into the hollow earth, Master, Ascended Master Saint Germain, Nikolai Tesla, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, El Haj Malik El Shabazz, Dr. George Washington Carver, Shroom Master Dr. Sabi, Shroom Master Dr. Kalindi Aye, Harriet Tubman, Mary McLeod Bethune, White Buffalo Calf Woman, Tahuti, Toth, the Atlantean, who, with the armada of levitating ships, built the outer Atlantean city, which is now called Kemet, throughout the world. This whole planet was Atlantis, family, the whole planet. And anyway, moving into the show, Saturday is going to be about partying with tea and magnet massage, you and me, at Nicholas Bookstore, 1396 Fulton Street. And I asked Enoch the Ethiopian, who ascended into the heavens and became Metatron, for him to be a part of this show. Put your hands on our shoulders. I'd like to invite Angel of Protection, Archangel Michael, to be on this show. I like the way the Ethiopians depict Archangel Michael for us to realign our visual with our acoustic divine. And this is the depiction from the original Archangel Michael. And I want to acknowledge the latest Christ born in the Congo, Simeon Toko, who called up an army of black angels, muscle-bound and bulletproof, and chased the occupational terrorists, the Belgians, out of the Congo. We invite you, Simeon Toko, to be on the show. Calling on the forces of nature within us, Ilegba Oshun, Yemaya Olokun, Oya Shango Ogun, Obatala, Ochosi, to be with us. Buddhas, Lady Buddhas, Krishna, Lady Krishnas. And with that being said, we say Ashe, Mahalo, Donada, Wado, Amen, Amen. And without further ado, this is my teacher, Master Yao Morris. Welcome to the show, Master Yao. And I think we're still in the vortex of the winter solstice, my brother. Do a sound check. 1, 2.
1, 2.
Oh, you got it, man. You got
1,
it.
2.
Yeah, you sounding great. You're sounding great. So I haven't shared, I'm gonna share it now. My teacher, Master Morris, Yao Morris, he sent me on a special mission impossible. He gave me a directive to cultivate, develop orgone and crystal activation several years ago. Do you remember you sent me on that mission? I'm still on that mission, family. And this Sunday, I will be sharing for free this device when you do a purchase of a cell phone shield protection. This hex magnetic pad seems to activate crystals. Those of you who are into pendulums or body muscle testing, check and see. Freeze the frame and do a muscle test, because we are in times that you don't have a pistol, you better have a crystal. And needless to say, Master Morris, it's been a minute since you've been here.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. What you got stewing, cooking, and brewing?
You name it, we got it.
Oh, I like that. Oh, wait a second. I got so excited. I'm moving you to front and center. Tell us what you got cooking, because I'm hearing fantastic progress, man, with the various innovations you're doing in touchless transmission of energy for healing and DNA activation. So tell us what's going on. You got the mic, man.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be on. As always, it has been a long time, but we have not been idle. We've been doing our thing here. We've been doing the touchless energy transmission for quite some time now. And what we're doing, we're on two vibes. Number one, at the energy body level, we have been experimenting with helping people return to their natal blueprint. In other words, it's a form of second puberty where you go back and revisit puberty again.
Whoa.
And what we're doing now is putting intelligence into the energy so that it helps you go back with your puberty and try to then match what your original frequency was, your original template. We find that in doing that, we don't return to the original template, but we do come close to it. We come closer to it. And when we do this, we find that the person who's receiving the treatment has returned somewhat to a form of energy that most appropriately suits what they should have intended to be. And said it very simply, in this short, direct path, you become your highest version of you, the highest and best version of you, so that it's a goal that nobody ever reaches, but the fact that you're on that path is extremely significant. And people experience all types of benefits, an ability to live their life in a way that's more authentic, more indigenous, and whatever they thought was their path, they're closer to achieving it, or either they begin to sense a new path. So that's part of what we're doing. And one of the ways that we help that is by helping us activate the water elemental around us. We find that if we add this one element to the whole equation, activating the water inside of our bodies and the water around us in nature, that this allows second puberty to work even that much better. So that's the energy body part of it. The other thing in the last 3 years that we're doing is by getting our cell metabolism much more on track. At the very root of it, at the heart of it, what we find is that a lot of the things keeping our cell metabolism from being all it can be is the management or the lack of management of our sugar intake, the life of our mitochondria. The mitochondria are inside of our cells. Therefore, if we really get whatever information we can get about the mitochondria, and we can get some type of a measurement of the state of the health of our mitochondria, we can determine what the next step is in our sugar management. What sugars are we consuming that we should not be consuming? How we can better process sugar in our cells so that the mitochondria can consume it better. And thus we increase the energy in our cells. And as the billions of cells inside of us start approaching their natural energy output, our auric fields grow stronger, our energy transfer is purer and stronger. The combination of these two things, second puberty and resuming something closer to our natal blueprint, our natal self. In other words, the path that we originally were on, getting us closer to that, even if it's not a lot, helps us. And if we change and improve our cell metabolism, again, it makes a big, big difference. The combination of these two things makes what we've already done that much more successful.
That's pretty good. I want to just say, before you even continue, Master Yao, you looking good, brother. You looking, you look almost to me luminous. And while he was talking, you reminded me back in the day when the last retreat I went to at that mansion, Master Yao. I remember you were sharing with us about the activation of, you say going into puberty again. And brothers, listen to this. Some brothers actually, their nature is restored to its original design, being extra more than it was previously. Can you touch on that? Because right now they got so much gender bender water chemicals throughout the country. Many of us, it's almost like the masculine principle is being attacked. What's that all about, Master Yao?
I don't, it's pretty obvious, I think, that we can see that something has happened. And every time one thing, we sort of get a handle on what happened, and the next thing you know, something else is unleashed. I think it's an understatement to say that men are not as masculine as they used to be 20, 30 years ago. No blame.
Oh, I got to put you front and center while you say that. I'm watching. Go ahead.
But at the same time, we need men in their original indigenous masculine state. And the two processes that I just described we have found repeatedly, assist men in getting back to that state. So I don't know that I'm qualified to address the original question. In other words, how do you stop it? I don't know that we have that yet. But just about everybody that's under 40 is affected. Some people say that some of the health practices are a problem. Other people say that the food is a big problem. We talk about the bombardment that is going on, all of these 4G, 5G, all of these things in the satellites and in these towers that are bombarding us with electromagnetic waves. I'm not going to say any particular issue, but I think we can look at all of these things and see for sure that something is ongoing. My task is not to try to comment on what exactly has happened. My task is not really to assign blame to this party or that party, although sometimes I feel like that's pretty obvious too. My thing is, if you are affected and you're trying to get back, to help you, to show you the way back or how to help you get back. So there's all types of speculation about what has been happening to people. Certainly, I don't think there's any question that the food that most of us are eating is depleted. That, when we look at the studies talking about the food does not have the level of nutrients in it that it used to, this is pretty much a fact. When we look at the water, it's polluted. I think this is pretty much a fact. So we can, just sort of complain. That's not my way. My way is, if you're in that situation and you know that it's a detrimental situation, that this society is in a state of decline, you need to be about solutions. You need to know about what can you do. And so that's where we're coming from. I'm coming from a place of those men or women, those men who want to be more masculine, those women who want to be more feminine. I published the books talking about how to tell, and the energy work. More and more, we find that we can restore a brother back to a better state. We're not saying that it's a complete reversal or anything of that. We're not saying that. But we are saying, based on what has actually happened, that they're significantly in a better place after they're doing this energy work that I just talked about. And of course, with the second puberty and with the water elemental and the, using that to help us in our cell metabolism, it makes a big difference. I know that Some people will say, okay, based on everything that's going on today, it almost seems overwhelming. But the power inside of ourselves is tremendous if we unlock it. The power inside of our energy bodies is even greater. And so many people, their cells aren't able to heal to the extent that they can heal after we start returning to the original template because they're not producing the energy. And a lot of this is due to the fact the amount of sugar that's being consumed and the fact that all of the hormones, prostaglandins, catalysts, and things that normally allow the mitochondria to convert our sugars into energy, they're just not working the way they're supposed to. And when we do the things that we need to do to restore that, it's miraculous stuff that occurs where people see health improve, energy levels improve, and they do indeed find that their cells are capable of doing so much more. That's my response to that.
I remember a special acknowledgement to Master Nityama that he shared one time, Master Yao. I think it was at the National Black Theater, that when he was doing projection work on men of, two-spirited men, I'll call it that, that some of them had actually stopped coming to him because they found in restoring their original orgasmic blueprint that they were now attracted to women or the opposite gender. And a lot of what's not spoken of is a lot of the molestation during the formative years as babies and children, affecting gender preference. And in the orgasmic healing that you are teaching, is an alignment back to your original blueprint, whatever that may be. And so I salute you. And the funny thing was, Master Yao, before doing this show, I totally forgot about putting the rotating crystal pyramids. But while you're speaking about the water element, I have the video in the background glorifying the spirit of water. And I think that maybe there wasn't any coincidence at all, because the spirit of water is floating and you see the movement of the water being alive. One of the things that I'd like to ask you, how is the water? Are we drinking enough water? Because you look like you just came out of a sauna and a jacuzzi, that you was up in there for hours being fed some grapes by some beautiful goddess. I mean, how important is water in our daily living?
So there's water and there's water. So much of the water that's available to us today is flowing through pipes. It's stored in containers that don't allow it to interact with the earth. Water is alive when it falls from the sky, when it flows across the earth, when it's frozen in glaciers, when it falls down waterfalls and mixes with the air. Whenever water does something, that's when it becomes more alive. And the reason is because as soon as water moves, interacts, or does any of these natural things, it attracts to it the water elemental spirits and the water energies. So these things are entities that are alive. They may not be alive the way humans are alive, but they are alive. We see this because whenever water is combined with the water elementals, it begins to act as if it's alive. It has memory. And if we drink water that is inert, that is empty, that is just plain water, it can help us some, but it's not the same as if we're drinking living water, the water that's with the water elemental. especially when we take water inside, we need a certain electrical conductivity. In other words, a negative electrical potential, so that when the water gets inside of the cell, it helps allow all of the raw materials in the cell and in the cytoplasm and in the, especially in the nucleus of the cell, it allows these things, the minerals, all of the nutrients that we partake of to move. It gives them greater transportation ability inside of the cell. This is critical. A big part of the problem today is that inside of the cell, things aren't moving the way they're supposed to. So the difference between the water that's dead, it's that it's not allowed to interact with nature. What do I mean by that? When we put water through pipes, especially plastic pipes, when we store water for long periods of time in a vessel or a container that's not natural, it's not a substance that's alive, it's a dead substance. It's not flowing across the earth. It's not falling down waterfalls. It's not interacting the way that it's naturally meant to. The water elemental gradually leaves that substance. And in the same way, the life of the water leaves it. And we're drinking this water that is absent of that aliveness. We're drinking it and it does what it can. It helps us a little bit just because of its pH and the nutrients entrained in it. It does help to some extent. But the thing that really makes water pop, the thing that really gives water the ability to activate us, is the water elementals that combine with it when it's in motion, when it's interacting. When water goes through a vacuum and then comes back again, it's beautiful. When water is put through a spiraling vortex, it's beautiful. When water interacts at high speed with air through waterfalls and whatever else, it's beautiful. When water entrains salts from the earth in it, that is beautiful. And all of these things cause the water elemental to combine with the water to help bring you more life. Even sometimes I will play music, certain types of music and certain types of binaural beats with the water for 10 to 20 minutes the night before. And then I bottle it and freeze it and thaw it and drink it. And I find that it has a higher natural elemental nature to it. And it tastes better and it makes me feel vibrant. And when it gets inside the cells, it helps to keep you alive and helps you to ward off the toxic stuff that's constantly, in and around us. So I think that all of those research, I become aware of it about 20 years ago. I think the first thing that I saw that let me know that they were starting to understand this is a scientist called, I think he was Dr. Emoto, Japanese guy. And he did a video called The Message from Water.
Yes.
And that, I think that's a landmark thing because, the gurus and the shamans and all these people have known about the water elementals for centuries. But we have this intersection now between people of science and people of spirit. And they're starting to understand each other better. This is momentous and this is quite good. He showed that when the water has water elementals in it, the crystals formed when it turns into ice grow and form beautiful designs and begin to do things. He showed that water has memory when it has the water elemental in it. And that if you program the water, even if you program it with words, that it tends to maintain that quality and help the body imbue that quality. If you write the words healing in certain languages and put it in proximity to the water, The water has a greater healing ability and will help people get rid of headaches. If you don't do anything to the water, if you take tap water, water that's been sitting a long time, water stored for long periods of time in large plastic containers, it does not have that ability. When you freeze it, there's nothing. There's no patterns, there's no life. We want to believe that everything is based on the Western model, which says that water is just H2O. And that's just simply not true. Nothing that is alive is simply its chemical component. It also has a spiritual component. And with water, this thing is the water elemental spirit, which I just spoke about. I think that there's been quite a bit of research and study and observation that shows this to be true. And there's a growing percent of the population who begin to start to use common sense to understand that if the thing you put inside of your body is dead, it's not going to bring life into that body. That we don't need to just put chemical water in the body. We need to put alive water in the body.
This is very deep because this is, I'm loving what you're saying because I'm looking, family, please leave in the comments section what part of the world you're listening to, and those who have already, thank you. What I'm looking at while you're talking, Master Yao, and I haven't said here, we haven't done a show in a while. I'm looking at you like, man, you look like you've been doing Tantra with water. I mean, there's a whole different vibe I'm looking at, and I'm like, man, this is amazing because you can actually, those of us who are sensitive, we can sense this water aura around you. I can see it on the screen, and I didn't take no shrooms today, family. I'm just saying I could see it. I could see this water. You look like you're in this almost like a water aura that's sort of shimmering, like you know how a predator had that shield that you could see but you can't see it. That's what it almost looks like. That's around you. And this comes to mind the work and research of Victor Stromberger. I think it was Victor Stromberger, who spoke about spinning water. So family, you can spin water in a cup. All right. And then you can have heating and cooling, like when you go to a sauna, you're in the sauna, and then you jump in the cold pool, then you go back in the sauna. For that heating and cooling, the book that was written, The Alchemist, spoke of heating and cooling water to activate the miracles. And it may be just what you just said, Master Yao, activating and awakening the water elementals. Because you look like you're in a water bubble. Those of you who could see it, comment in the section, because here it is right here. Someone sees a blue aura around you. I can see it too. Look, I'm not making this up. All right. Baltimore in the house. Thank you. Brooklyn's in the house. Master Yao, you got a bunch of folks listening to you right now. But I can see you on another vibe right now, brother. You look like you in water bending school of I don't know what unlimited possibilities, because you looking good, my brother. I'm giving you some knuckles there. Give him some knuckles, family, because you looking good. You are glowing, bro. So speaking about the water and everything, I think you smack on it. And talking about water, family, heating and cooling water on your stove, and that's what I suggest to people. Like, bring the water to a boil with a glass top, Master Yao, in a stainless steel pot, and then drop it in a sink full of cold water for 30 seconds and repeat that cycle. And the water seems to get silky smooth, and it penetrates the body, because so-called aging look like dehydration. And go ahead.
No, you're right on it. And it's really simple. One of the things that I recommend people do is to get sunlight a little bit every day, even if it's through a window, to put just a little bit of sunlight on your skin, and it helps to activate again. Why? I'm not really talking about getting sun just to get your skin, browner. What I'm saying is that if you if you think about it, the sun is probably the purest elemental that you can have. When stuff is coming directly from the sun, what better way to get the fire elemental inside of you? And so, we need all four elementals: earth, fire, air, water. That water elemental, though, is the closest elemental to life itself. There is nothing that lives on this planet if it does not have water. If you take, you can put air and earth and all those things together, but if you don't have water in the earth, you have a desert.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
once you put water on anything, it starts to grow. Now, what is it about water that rains on the Serengeti Plain or some other place of that nature that all of a sudden things grow so fast where they've been dry and in a drought for 4 months, shriveled all up? The minute you get a storm and the water comes, the next day everything is growing as if it never stopped. And I say that it's partly the chemical thing, the chemical water, but it's mostly the water elemental that the water attracts to itself, falling from the sky and flowing across the earth.
Mm.
Life is in everything around us if we simply understand and commune with it and be natural with it, be indigenous with it. And therefore, of course, if the water inside of a person is activated and active, certainly their sexual energy is going to be way more powerful. We talk about, and people have seen the videos where, I help women to achieve certain levels of sexual arousal and whatever. But what they often don't see is that what we're really attempting to do first is to simply heal the organs inside that woman or man.
Yeah.
So that it can metabolize the water better.
Yeah. While you was talking, I was visualizing what it would be like. And family, this is just what came through, Master Yao, is that you're actually doing the projection work while a person or a woman is in a tub of warm water. I don't know where that thought came from. Maybe that's some of your secret recipes that you got going on, because we can see you got something going on there. You definitely don't look the same way you looked the last time you was on. You look like I got water. Oh, I am. You look like you water slow jamming. And the thing I want to share is that when Master Emoto, I'm going to call him a Master Emoto, he talked about the 6-sided points of water. And I found the most effective way to magnetize water is with that sacred geometry and a 6-sided magnet. So if you don't have a 6-sided magnet, you can get one. You can start with the round magnets at least, even with a hole in it. But look, they're making comments about you, but they're talking about you, Master Yao. He said your vitamin D levels must be good. And the ladies are in the chat smiling. So the question I have, Master Yao, is the brother from the Nation of Islam who was speaking in Brooklyn was talking about how the water in Atlanta's water supply has been compromised by gender bender chemicals and is not being talked about. Is it possible, in addition to using UV light and maybe heating and cooling, how can water elementals help to restore authentic masculine and authentic feminine energy? Is it possible? Wesley Muhammad, yes. Wesley Muhammad was saying that the water in Atlanta has been compromised with gender bender chemicals to make people psychologically outside their nature. Can water elementals help assist in restoring the natural born blueprint?
Absolutely. I think we can safely say, and this is not Master Yao saying it, but the federal government government has been measuring the levels of certain impurities in water for the last 30 to 40 years that I'm aware of. And they indicate in various studies, the first one that they did that I'm aware of was in the Potomac River near Washington, D.C., because the government apparently wanted to be certain that this water supply was uncompromised because of the Defense Department facilities that were there in Crystal City and the Pentagon, and because there are some other very sensitive military and civil sites or operations going on in that vicinity coming from the Potomac River Basin. So that was one of the first places that I was aware, going back at least 30 years, that they were monitoring the water downstream. And so what we see is that there was quite a significant amount of runoff from farms, mining, and such things, and especially medical waste water. So a lot of this water was going into treatment facilities, and they let it set. And a lot of the impurities, the solids were, falling to the bottom. They tested the water before this water was chlorinated and put into the reservoirs, into the places from which people were going to get their drinking water. And they found that many of the impurities were removed, but not the hormone disruptors.
Wow.
What the government was saying, and I assume they're still saying this, is that there's a significant level of what are called hormone disruptors still in the water, and it was not possible to get them out that easy. And the cost to get them out was not feasible. It wasn't sustainable. So these hormone disruptors, just to give you a for instance, then you would look at the chicken farms and the fact that they feed the chickens a hormone very similar to estrogen to promote the growth of the breast of the chicken, because they get more money selling breast meat than other parts. Therefore, they wanted the breast of the chicken to be meatier.
Wow.
So they feed them estrogen-like hormone, which supports growth. So what they call these things are growth hormones. And of course, they've been feeding them to chicken and other animals for quite a long time now.
Oh, man.
What happens is, though, that when they're doing this, the runoff into the different drainage systems containing those hormones, a lot of the hormones are washed down into these drainage systems, which eventually empty into the Potomac. That's also, I'm just talking about one possible example. There are many. And these waters don't just evaporate, they flow on the ground and especially into the drainage systems from these farms and from many other origins, and they end up in the river. And so the thing is, it's the same thing with fluoride. They put fluoride in the water, and supposedly they've reduced the amount of fluoride, and they have a system now that is supposedly, as of 10 years ago, that meters the fluoride better. So before, they were just taking sacks of fluoride, I guess, and dumping the compound, not the fluoride, but the compound that produces it, and just dumping it in the water, sort of like some guy, is paid to do that, I guess. And he didn't really measure it that well. You're talking about such large quantities, I don't think people even are concerned like that. What they started doing 10 years ago was injecting it in a more metered type of way so that you would get a better mix of water per, parts per million. But what they find is that with all of that, they can't get the fluoride out of the water. In other words, even if you try, it's very, very difficult. Even if you put it through a clay and carbon filters, you get a lot of it out, but not the majority of it. This is the same thing with the hormone disruptors. They're at such a small microscopic level, it's hard to filter them out. So now, they talked about Flint, Michigan. And to make things really, really short and not to drag this out, they're saying that if you look at the chemicals that are getting into the water, which are called hormone disruptors, if you mix these with some of the common chemicals we find in the water from piping, talking about lead, talking about zinc, I'm talking about the zinc-lined pipes, talking about all of these things. Even if you get the water to a household relatively free of some of these things, once it goes into the house, it goes through the smaller pipes, and then people drink it, and some of it comes out in the urine, and it still goes back into the same system. So it's like you can't get away from it. We talk about what is happening in the farms, but the true pollution occurs when humans consume water and urinate it out, because a lot of that goes right back into the river. I mean, I want you to stop and think about that. It goes into the storm drains, it goes into the sewage system, and it's got to go someplace. A lot of it goes back into the river or back into the treatment plants. And we don't remove a lot of the stuff out of it. What we do is we cover it up by trying to kill the germs through chlorination. So we're just constantly adding more and more. You know, we talked about Flint, Michigan, but I would say, and I have no data to back this up, but I think it's a common sense observation that Flint, Michigan is the tip of the iceberg, and that many of the major water systems, including Atlanta, are not delivering pure, good water to people. If we're starting with that water and we're putting something coming from the tap into our system, you really think that we're doing ourselves a favor. Now, if we add the water elemental to it, what is that going to do? I think that if you're looking at a situation like Flint, Michigan, I don't know that the water elementals are going to help you that much. I think if you're in the midpoint where you're not really relying on tap water and you're relying a lot more on bottled water for what you drink, it's still going to have a good amount of these problems with it. But the water elemental would help in that case. It would weigh things in your favor, definitely. So you say, well, the bottled water also has a problem because most of it is not coming from streams anymore. And even those sources coming from streams, you know, it's very expensive water to get. But I don't think you can rely on most of the brands of bottled water being that much better than filtered tap water. In other words, you take the tap water and put it through another level of filtration. The volume of water that's being sold in this country is such that it's just not possible to get the majority of it from an original stream or aquifer or that type of a source that's untouched in nature. The volume is just too great. A lot of it, I expect, is simply municipal water that's being filtered. But even that is enough to give you an edge. And if you then put the water elemental spirit into the water, you're winning. And you can go back to a place where the water is doing what it needs to do inside, and you're not just drinking water for no reason.
I want to share with you, Master Yah, I've been in, I call Lab Zone, and family, I'll share this with you also. I've been experimenting with a noble gas called xenon. And you can see that little video that's behind us. You see, I have a xenon bulb floating around in the water. And the first thing I noticed, Master Yao, and this is just garage tinkering is that my plants in the room that I had this 5-gallon jug, which is playing in the background, I noticed the plants started growing very robust. And I mean, more than before. And I noticed that my cat was coming to me instead of having his water from his fountain. He wanted to have the water that seemed like the xenon somehow may have activated the water more than before. And I've just been noticing my own strength level. And I think perhaps there may be a connection. And I'm just using xenon bulb, you know, next to the jug or in the water. I always tell everyone use it on the outside, but from my own personal experience, having it floating in the water, it makes the water taste like there's a spirit around the water. Is that what you are speaking of when you're talking about water elementals? Can we taste the water elementals?
The elementals in nature are what operates nature. It's what produces our weather. It's what causes the wind to blow. It's what they are the operators of nature. They're everywhere. And certainly, anytime you do anything that mimics nature, that helps to return something to its natural state, you are increasing the activity of the water elementals. So the answer to that would be yes.
And I also noticed, and family, we got to be real careful because they're working on depopulation of people of color, because the projection by 2030 is going to be a whole different percentage of people of color versus non-people of color. What I have noticed is, and in my research, and I'm focused on crystals, but I'm also read a lot about water, Master Yao, and the hormones that's in the water, like women taking estrogen, and these small parts per million not only affects is in the tap water, but it also changes the psychological profile of the man who's drinking the water or eating too much tofu. He starts thinking and speaking words that are more of a psychological nature. And this is the agenda, family, of the powers that be, because the powers that be are going to hold on to their masculine nature, but they would prefer that all the slave population speak, act in feminine mannerism, because the masculine in the physical realm pretty much has dominion. And that's why the Roman Empire, when they would invade, according to history, when a Roman army would invade a city or a town, they would rape the young boys so they would not rise up against the Roman Empire, in the same way that the hormones are creating literally a physiological cellular rape of the masculine principle and bending up the feminine principle. Does that make sense? Because this is like wild science we're talking here, Master Yao, of these chemicals. Oh my God.
Well, it's hard to get away from water, and it's hard to get away from people doing things that are sinister. So if you look at the history in the last 5 years of outbreaks, we're talking about salmonella, we're talking about all types of flesh-eating bacteria and other types of things where they have to do food recalls. Most of them come about because of irrigation. So we don't have as much today in terms of recalls that come about from direct poisoning of solid matter, the food itself. We still have that, but we don't have nearly as much as we did 30 years ago. So when we hear about these foods being recalled, a lot of times it's frozen foods. But when we hear about these recalls and we hear about these situations where the food is not good and they have to stop selling it or whatever, a lot of it is due to irrigation, where the water that they're using to irrigate is not good. And so where is this water coming from? In other words, if you're eating those plants, especially if it's grown in a foreign country, where did the water come from that they're using to irrigate it? And was it toxic or not toxic? So when we look at, the Romans and their practices, and we look at, the masculine energies in men, it is true that some of these ancient armies and powers, they chose one of two paths. They wanted to put some type of a physical contaminant in the food or the water so that people were less aggressive. The US Army puts a salt compound into the food for soldiers for the first 6 months so that they would follow orders better. That's just one, for instance. They either did the chemical where they put a chemical into the population of men, or they did something psychological. But most of the psychological damage has been done through religions. If you look at the belief systems that have been introduced over the years, it is through either direct religion or some type of a branch or offshoot of a belief system that has to do with, whether you believe that your race is superior to other races, or you believe that your race is cursed, or you believe that your nation is not fit to be is supposed to be moved. Any type of imperialistic belief system that's given from one group of people to another group of people. If you look at the Native Americans, some of the things that they did when they could not break their aggressive spirit is, they put diseases like smallpox into their blankets, or they gave them alcohol. And so it's the same principle. We can't beat you in a fair fight. And we never play fair anyway. And so now we're gonna help beat you because you're gonna show up to the fight drunk, or half your warriors are incapacitated from disease. This has been something that it's not just been done by people against blacks, but this is something that's been done to people all around the world as far back as time records. People are very addicted to power, and they do whatever they feel like they can get away with.
Yes.
They don't tell you what's going on, and they never have, and they never will. You have to have your own. You have to have your own belief system, your own culture, and you have to follow that. You have to have something that you can count on. If you believe what they tell you in the media and what the script that they're basically reading on the morning news, you can be certain that you're going to be led astray. But people still believe it. They still believe it. And as long as it works, they're going to keep doing it because it's giving them success. If you look at Africa, they have done some of the same practices, unfortunately. If you look at China, they've done some of the same practices over the years. If you look at, Czechoslovakia, Austria, you look at Britain, you look at the United States, you look at South America, I cannot find a particular region of the world where this is not true. So, if whether you're a black man or a Palestinian or any person, anywhere, you've got to start coming to grips with the fact that you have enemies and they'll go to any length to defeat you. And the first order of business is to change your beliefs and to change the beliefs of the world. Right now, if you go around the world and look from Pakistan to Louisiana, the main battle that's being fought is a battle of information, a battle for people's minds. And so, number one, people tend to believe what's broadcast. And the ones with the biggest and most the greatest scope of their broadcast tends to be the point of view that is spread. People need to be smarter than that. And so this battle of information is the battle that's being lost today. And so if people have your minds, if they've got the information corrupted, they don't really have to defeat you in any type of a financial or a military or a different type of war. They don't have to defeat you. You're already defeated before you get to the battlefield because you don't know that you're fighting.
Yes, I agree. And while you're sharing this, this is an epic show, Master Yao. I want to thank you again for being on the platform. What comes to mind is the entheogens and having an entheogenic reset, family. And I respect everybody's comfort zone as far as psychedelics, but I'm thinking of specifically shrooms because not only is it a spaceship, but it's also a time machine. And in the language, I'm hearing about people in our community starting to use this word, I allow. And I'm hearing this, I allow, more and more. Even somebody in the chat. And I'm wondering, is this part of the reflection? Because allow is a word, I think it's from France, which is dealing with allowance. Like a man gives a woman an allowance, or a parent gives a child an allowance, or an allotment. So what I suggest, family, what with language suggestions, that we have a medicine moment in your own meditation or in a group so that you can acoustically restore or acoustically align with the forces of nature. What does Grandpa Mushroom say about certain words such as I allow, I am, and experience in the lab of your psychedelic state while doing Tantra, saying, words of certain words and chants. I know that you use those, Master Yao, but I'm sensing that the powers that be with the chemtrails, the chemicals in the water, in the food, in the plastics, in the music, the degraded music that now white America doesn't want. Gangster rap or the trap rap that's in the community of self-destruction. They don't want that to be in their community. They don't want to hear their little white kids saying certain words that we're accepting, So it's like you have to go to the plant source, family. I'm seeing in the chat. Thank you, James O. What words of power invokes and enhances your masculine principle, and what words enhances surrender of your masculine nature? So, but all of us are innocent, and all of us are guilty by nature of our incarnation in this cesspool, prison planet, chicken farm that we all incarnated in, for whether to assist or to pay off karmic debts. But what would you say to the young men in the listening audience, Master Yao, to preserve their masculine nature when everything in society is trying to emasculate the Black man, or every man for that matter?
One of the epidemics that exists today is alteration through chemical drugs, through synthetic chemicals. And so Um, one of the biggest things that's happening now is everybody's under so much pressure that they turn to some type of substance, legal or illegal, for relief. And I would caution any man to resist that. So we've got everything from heroin to fentanyl to weed. Now weed has positive uses, and perhaps some of the uses could also be deemed negative when it's done in excess. But from what I've seen, just in my own personal experience, a lot of people today are turning toward legal chemicals, prescription, Percocet, and all they got. It's just so much stuff. Oxycontin. No, I mean, it's just the list goes on and on and on. You got the opioids, and they say we're in an opioid epidemic. Um, so you get under so much pressure as a man. You're under pressure from women. You're under pressure from the economics. You're under pressure because you don't have a place to be. You can't afford a house, can't afford an apartment. So you would say that, especially the black man, but to some extent even the white man, is under kind of pressure that puts you into a state of mind that you consider yourself a refugee. Refugees from war. The psychological state that the man under 30 is in today is a state where he considers himself subliminally as a refugee. And so this brings a certain psychology with it. It says that you don't have a stable place to be, and you're not a stable part. You're not the preferred member of society in terms of, society's going to support you. You're a refugee. And I'm talking about the people that are born or citizens and have been here all of their life. Many of them exhibit the psychology of a refugee. And what happens is then when they put you under all of this pressure, the behavior that they turn to, they have a choice, and they turn to the escapism. They don't want to be here. They don't feel a lot of hope. They don't feel they have a lot of friends. They don't feel like there's stuff that they can count on. They don't know where to turn. And they turn to some type of drug or some type of eating comfort, which normally contains sugars. They turn to, the more they feel the pressure that they can't cope, the more powerful the drug they turn to. And this, the spectrum is so wide. I mean, of course, you've got the illegal drugs, which we know about them. But people, I think they are living a natural life where they have economic possibilities. They're less likely to turn. But in the current state that we're in, where half the population, the male population, is just barely making it, barely able to have a place to live, much less try to raise a family. Then you've got to deal with what's going on with the woman, and the fact that it's very hard to have a stable relationship with today's woman. And so, whether it's the male's fault or the female's fault or some other fault, this person, this man, turns to some type of external relief in chemical drugs. And I think that that is probably, based on what you're saying, the doorway, the portal to these situations where his masculinity gradually slips away.
Yeah, I think it's part of the hip hop is Prison Planet owned by the prison industrial complex. A lot of the rap the raps owners, the ones that create the music, they select music to play in the black communities or the brown communities for the purpose of funneling the youth back to the prison industrial complex, to direct them into the prison industrial system. And while you're talking, I'm also thinking about I Allow. That would be beautiful to have so many of our women who've been stressed by being single parents, for them to restore their femininity by using the words I allow. You know, because a woman is naturally yin. And as you were just saying, Master Yao, so many of our women, from being stressed, they're in their fake masculine energy, and it pops up whenever they get stressed, like a unseen hand grenade. What can possibly help to resolve and dissolve the fake masculine energy in contemporary women in America?
That's a difficult question.
That's why I asked you.
It's probably just above my pay grade.
Mm.
So I'm able to deal with the situation one-on-one completely. And the men that I train, or the women that I train, can deal with the situation in a one-on-one. But, you know, we've had over 10,000 people go through Grand Trine, but that's still just a drop in the bucket over the last 13 years. And it barely touches the population. So that when we talk about the general population, you know, that has almost no, that has some impact, but not a lot. So now I don't have an answer to that because I can't get to that audience. If people are just out here and they have no knowledge, they have no connection to anything authentic, I don't know what you can give them. I don't think there's a pill that you can give them, or just one book that they can read that's going to change that. It's self-evident that females are, you know, not as feminine as they used to be. It's self-evident that young men especially are not as masculine as they need to be. But to get to the point where men can be returned to a better state of masculinity, we have to reach them first, and they have to go through something before they'll even accept a solution that is real, that actually will change things. I don't know the answer that you could say, okay, if we tell people this, that's going to solve the problem. I think you've got to reach them, and they've got to become connected to a program where they do something. And that the first thing that's got to happen is that they believe in you, that they believe in somebody that's actually telling the truth. And then number two, they've got to follow the program until it reaches a point of conclusion. We had a situation with the whole sugar detox thing, with the cell metabolism thing. When the mitochondria become depressed, in other words, their numbers and their health goes down because of whatever condition exists in the cell metabolism, it can take them 2 weeks to recover. Now,
Wow.
what I'm saying is that under the perfect conditions, if all of a sudden that person starts doing everything that they can do to restore themselves, it's still going to take 2 weeks before you start to see the needle start to move. So if the person's really stressed out and they start doing this regimen that you tell them to do, and they do it for 2 weeks, they're still not going to see any change, because the mitochondria haven't awakened yet, haven't restored themselves, and haven't started functioning again. So you're talking some type of a long-term thing where the person needs to follow this for 6 weeks to 2 months, and then they'll see a relief, and their masculine energy will start to resurface. But how do we do that? How do we make touch with people? And then when we look at all of the negative stuff that they're inundated with every day, how do they begin to resist that and cling to the truth? They've never been taught that. They're not conditioned to do that. I think that the answers that you're asking, the answers to those questions are actually kind of simple, but how do you execute it? How do you actually do it? And I think that the sad truth is people out here have to want things to improve and be willing to sacrifice. I don't think, number one, that people want things to improve, not for everybody. They want things to improve for me. They don't necessarily want things to improve for everybody. And the second thing is they are not willing to sacrifice. And this is critical. If you're not willing to sacrifice, I don't know how you expect things to improve in a general overall way.
I want to say, I think you're on to something, Master Yao, because I am seeing more and more the disdain, the disrespect that many women have for the male principle. I mean, it's overt. It's not covert, it's overt. Where even on my platform, I had to actually check, like, wait, stop. I'm what you just said, and I was doing family. I want you to do a reading. Does processed sugar take women out of their natural feminine essence? I think that's unresearched, but my intuition, my I am tells me, Master Yao, that sugar has a part to play in taking women out of their feminine nature into a fake masculine possession demeanor. That's just popped in my head while you was talking. I don't know, but
So
woo,
my
that's
thing
hot.
is, the first thing is people got to want to cooperate with something that actually works. I don't see that. I see small groups of people that are connected to you know, to sources. I see them really making progress and doing great things. Uh, but once you get away from that, I don't see that men as a group want to change. I don't see that women as a group want to change. You can say a lot of stuff that makes sense, but if you're talking to the wrong audience of women, basically you get the fluoride stare. In other words, you said something really important, and they just look at you like you didn't say anything at all. Um, Something is wrong, absolutely, but the first thing is we don't have the attention of the woman. TikTok does. We have to get their attention first, and for that, they have to want things to improve between men and women. And right now, the evidence says they do not. So the attention is TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. If you look at the typical young woman, what she wants is attention. Period. Drop the mic. You have to change that before you can make any real serious progress. So the battle, as I said earlier, is an informational battle. So if TikTok has the attention, what's the next step with that? If Facebook has the attention, what's the next step with that? You can try to go on Facebook and alter the conversation, but the algorithms will defeat you every time. If you got young men, what is getting their attention? TikTok has their attention. If you're looking at this and you're saying stuff that makes sense, the solutions are possible, yes, but the first thing that has to happen is the informational battle. You have to first get their attention. They have to want to give you their attention. They have to be looking for you, searching you out. And right now, what they're searching is on their phones every day. They want attention and they want likes. And so they want entertainment. They're not thinking about, the majority of them, solutions. They're not considering that they have a battle that they're in, that these economic things and these things that the corporations do hurt them. They're not thinking in terms of fighting back. They're not thinking in terms of solutions. But solutions are there. If you don't have their attention because they're not seeking solutions and they're giving their attention, nobody is making them stay on their phone all day. Nobody is telling them what they're looking at on their phone. That's a choice they are making. And if they're making this choice that TikTok has attention, Hank has to earn my attention. If they're not looking for somebody like Hank, they're probably not going to find him. They're certainly not going to find a Master Yao, because I'm not necessarily in the public eye that much at all. If you want to find me, you got to be looking pretty much. And then, even then, the first time that you see what we're doing, you're probably not going to believe it. So when we say that, the modern woman has issues, I don't think anybody doubts that. Even the modern women, many of the spokesmen will say there's a big problem here in the female population. But then you ask the question, is the female population looking in those directions? Are they saying something's wrong? We need solutions. We need to fix this. What is working? If they do that, then they're going to start looking for that information and they're going to start finding it because it's all over the place. But I think the real question is they're not looking, and we don't have their attention.
So, in other words, they're getting crack. Social media has become the new crack in the sense of fake power. Wow. This is deep, Master Yao. We're going in tonight and we're talking underneath the energy of the winter solstice. This is powerful, brother. Thank you for these words. Is there another connect? Because family, my brothers, my young brother, most of my audience, 2/3 of my audience are men, and 1/3 is women, according to the analytics. So you talking to the young men, that's why I was like, I got to have Master Yao on, because my young brothers, from 25 up to past 55, they're listening for solutions and tactical strategies, because it's a war of the genders going on, but it's diabolically planned for the purpose of depopulation.
Hank, let me ask you something. So, I'm just going to be really raw with it. The first thing that I would say to young brothers is stop basing your self-esteem on pussy.
Woo-wee! Y'all heard it. Say it again, Master Yao.
So the first thing that I confront when I confront young men who are seeking to pull their life together and make progress in areas is I say to them, stop basing your self-esteem on pussy. How much pussy you can get, how pussy regards you. In other words, when men become refugees, when they become refugees in their own country, one of the things that tends to happen is they base their self-esteem on how other people see them and not how they see themselves. So half of that equation, because Black men have stopped looking for validation from other Black men, they stopped that long ago. They mainly look for validation from women. And they see that validation in getting pussy, manipulating pussy, being able to attract pussy. And, I'm using that word in its vulgarity, if you want to call it that, for a reason. Because on the one hand, we see young black men debasing women because of their attractiveness, and at the same time desiring them for their attractiveness, not to lift them up as women, but to put them into a situation where they can get from them the gratification that they want. In other words, they're in this dynamic where you're trying to get women to respond to you and chase you and do for you and do what you tell them to do, but you're not long-term thinking, how do I get women into a natural, elevated state? And so the man is the main healer of the woman. He's the main, he's supposed to enforce the woman. He's supposed to defend her, and he's supposed to, provide for her in a natural state. Of course, that doesn't mean women are going to cooperate with that, because as we know, they don't. But still, when you get into this refugee frame of mind, first thing that happens is you start looking outside for validation, for understanding how important you are. You don't see how important you are. And I tell men how important they are. And I tell them and I show them how they can confirm this fact. And that once they do, the first thing they have to do is get off this whole merry-go-round of allowing their self-esteem to be determined by pussy. So first, before you even think about pussy, become your own man and decide that only you can determine how valuable you are. Kevin Samuels talked about high value men, and I enjoyed his show very much. And I would have added one thing to his platform had I been allowed to do that. I would have said that the most high value men are the men who have established the value themselves and not by women or by society. We have allowed ourselves to be, our value to be determined by our cars, our houses, and what property we command, what our credit rating is, and all of this external stuff. And we don't determine our own value and stand on that. My first advice to young men, the first thing that I say to them is, you determine what your value is. Nobody else, nothing else. You start there. And then, you dictate the terms. Pussy is going to relate to you, how it's going to interact with you. And those terms have to be, first of all, I as a man have to be valued, and you got to prove that to me, that you value me. And then number two, once that happens, you have to prove to yourself that you value her truly, and not just for the butt and some titties. When you do those two things, you demand that the woman value you. Your self-esteem becomes determined by you. Then number two, nobody's got to ask. A woman knows that you value her because you're doing the things that we talked about in the book, Awakening the Master Masculine. We're doing those 4 things that men are supposed to do. Provider, the healer, he's a warrior, and he's an eagle. And then if the woman can't see that you value her, when you're imbibing, when you're representing that stuff right there, naturally and indigenously, then, well, okay, you need to discard her and go to the next one. Maybe she'll come back to her senses in 10 years, but for now, just walk away. So, men are men. And so that the man has to set the standard in society. He's the outside operator, okay? And he's responsible for the woman to some extent. Even if she's off the reservation doing some crazy ass crap, which a lot of them are, even so, it's the man who's responsible for the container, society. Therefore, first things first, stop basing your self-esteem on pussy. And base your self-esteem on what you have done in life and what you possibly can do in the future. And a lot of these issues will go away. Well, maybe they won't quite go away, but they'll stop bothering you. And focus, on this whole refugee thing and the fact that, how do I get money? Because money is important. How do I get standing in the community? How do I get all this other stuff that you need? And all these health issues we've talked about, all these psychological issues that we've talked about. But if you are constantly basing your self-esteem on your credit rating, how women are responding to you, then you're reacting and not proacting. If you're going to be a man and you're going to call yourself a man, if you want me to consider you a man, or men like me to consider you a man, you better damn well grab a hold of your sovereignty by the nuts and lift yourself up and stop being so based on your self-esteem on pussy, and base your self-esteem based on what you can accomplish to make you a true high-value man. We probably alienated some of your clientele, Brother Hank. I hope I haven't.
Oh, no, not at all. This is real. We needed to hear this in Christmas holiday weekend, Master Yao. This is the Christmas gift from the elders, family. This is a Christmas gift, a vision of what manhood is about, because we don't have rites of passage in the country, Master Yao. So you just gave rites of passage message, because it's not being taught in the church. It definitely isn't being taught in the Christian churches. I mean, look, you know what they're talking about on in the media now is the big reverend down there. I forgot his name. And all, it's like this world is going crazy, Master Yao. And folks is loving that you dropping the message, man. They loving it. So thank you. I mean, you just lit up the whole chat. Pow, pow. They loving it. They're saying thank you. Again, the men and the women, they're saying thank you, because most people don't have the testosterone to say it. And here you are in your water vessel calling the shots with your water elementals riding shotgun. They're loving it. Yeah.
I couldn't go without you. You're giving me a platform to speak. So we
absolutely. You have an open VIP ticket, man. Open VIP ticket anytime. Like
I tell you,
anytime.
The sad thing for me, my sadness comes from the fact that life is so beautiful. The potential of life is so magnificent. It saddens me to see people wasting it, letting it pass them by. I look at people just struggling, man, just to get an apartment. And I look at young men, and it just doesn't stop happening. Where young men get a girl pregnant and it doesn't come out well because he's got no place for her to live with him. And so he wants to get her and maybe marriage or something like that. He wants to do that, but he doesn't have an apartment. Or simply, he doesn't have a place where he can say, this is my house, this is my apartment, and the woman can come here and live with me. And a lot of men just sort of give up on the woman. They're like, okay, I'm not, they don't have the self-esteem. They don't have the confidence in themselves that they want to try to make it without that. I mean, let's just look at the real simple thing. Then let's talk about money. We're so heartless. I mean, the corporations, they just want to take your money. That's it. They want to take your money. And the criminals want to take it any way that they can, the scammers and whatever. I got hit by 2 scammers this week that called me up trying to scam me, and I just like, no, thank you.
Yeah,
And
that's been happening a lot, Master Yao.
man, it's like,
And they have
whoa.
African accents. And Bliss found out some of them are coming from Nigeria. Imagine that. Somebody want to send love to you, Master Yao. Go ahead, girl.
Hey, Master Yao, this is Dara. How are you feeling? I just wanted to say I love you and I thank you for all the work you've been doing. It's good to see you up here and vibrant and shining and full of joy and grace and beauty. And just want to say thank you. That's it. Just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Dara's doing great work out there.
Yeah, you heard what he said? You're doing great work.
Absolutely. Same with you. I learned from the best, right?
You sure did learn from the best. I'm still learning. We're doing rites of passage tonight. Master Ya's dropping it. He's dropping the mic and beating the mic.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Like I said, I'm driving. I'm about to lose my reception, but I just wanted to say love, and I'm enjoying the show. So y'all have a wonderful evening. Happy winter solstice to everyone in the chat, and on the show. And yeah.
Thank you. And get there and be safe, okay?
I shall.
Got it.
All right.
Bye-bye. Well, that's one of your top flight students. A shout out from Adara, who's giving accolades to her teacher, Master Yao.
So I would like to comment on Christmas, if I may.
Yeah. Go right ahead, brother.
You know, I celebrate the winter solstice every year. I'm not really a big Christmas fan. But I think that I've heard a lot of people this past week sort of speaking down about Christmas, which I'm not really on that bandwagon either. One of the things that I noticed about the whole Christmas thing, I don't like the commercialization and the gifts so much, but I do know that children tend to perk up, and even adults, when this time of the year comes around. I've noticed every winter solstice that the energy of the community does become better. Now, in January, when the bills come due, it might be a different story, but I do notice that for whatever reason, for the gifts, for the trees, for the lights, or whatever, a lot of people do perk up at this time of year. And I think that we need that.
Sure.
I'm kind of unhappy that maybe some of the concepts around these holidays are false, but still, I think that, we need a time during the year when people can celebrate, when there are lights, when there is something more than just the drudgery of every day going to work and trying to make a living is sort of set aside. So I encourage people to celebrate their life. Now, I'm not saying go into debt. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you got to be into the whole the way that some people use it as an excuse for other things. But to the extent that Christmas brings your family together, that the holidays, whichever holiday we're talking about, Kwanzaa, whatever we're talking about, I really think that people need to embrace celebration, family, getting together, and having some level of relief from all of the mundane existence that we go through every week. I've seen 3 or 4 people that I know personally really just pick up and become bright this last couple of weeks because of the holiday. to schedule vacations, to get together and do something unusual. I would say that right now in the world, we need something positive. We need something that uplifts us, that we need to take any excuse we can to set aside the bitterness of life and embrace something that's celebration, something that's uplifting. I just want to encourage that. That's all I have to say about that.
That's beautifully said. That's that's beautifully said, because there is something about the energy that the joy. And I want to acknowledge my Moorish Monday, Dr. Abdullah Bey. He said that's our holiday. That is our holiday time, the winter solstice. And he said that a lot of the Black Power movements or the Pan Africanists don't embrace the holidays. He said, but that is our holidays. It's all ours. So we can work day. We can do magic. This is a time you could do your invocations. Whatever words from your heart. This is the time to do your invocations. So your words was point on, beating the mic up. That mic is going to be messed up by the time you finish, Master of the Hour. Dropping the mic, it's going to look abused, but the message is definitely going to be used of what you're saying. So this is the contact, the website for classes and workshops, grandtrineinternational.com. True?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's 8:30 and you rocked it for an hour and a half. We salute you. We love you. And in the spirit of Ubuntu, happy New Year, happy solstice, happy Kwanzaa, family. And thank you, Master Yao, for this time. Thank you for being that father figure for so many of the brothers out here who may not have that masculine vision to point to the direction. And that's why Honorable Elijah Muhammad was so great in providing that masculine father figure to all the men who didn't have the dad that had the fortitude or the wisdom or the ability to speak like you spoke tonight. Your message is going to travel far, and we thank you. You got an open invitation anytime you want to drop something like a pop, dropping it to the family and sisters. Oh, yes. She said the sisters too. They listening, and it's a packed house. And we thank you. Thank you for your mission.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I love the audience. I love them.
Yeah. They love, you dropped the message. You and your shotgun riding water emojis. What do you call them again? Your water
elementals.
Oh, your water elementals. Sorry, no disrespect, fam. I don't mean to call the elementals emojis, but we all. They should make some water elemental emojis, just for us to be, to integrate everything, because social media done jacked us up, and the cell phone technology ain't helping much. Yeah, thank you so much, and come back soon. Maybe once a season or something.
I enjoy your presence so much, and it may do a lot more than we think.
Yes.
We may be making a bigger difference than we think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Talking about you. I'm talking about you right now.
Oh.
A lot of times we don't know just how much, there's a show. I watch it every year. A lot of people think it's corny. It's like, it was made back in the 40s, I guess. It's called The Wonderful Life. And it talks about this guy. They took him out of the world. They acted as if he had died. And they showed what life would have been like without him. So that's the thought I'll leave you with, Hank. We looked at the world without you. What would we see?
Wow. I remember that movie. It brought me to tears, Master Yao, back in the day.
I watch it.
That's a tearjerker, man.
Because I watch it every year because I'm like, it is kind of corny. Okay, yes, it is. But the message of it is, that life wouldn't have been the same without him. and he really needed to treasure himself for the contribution he had made. That's my message.
Thank you. Thank you. Asante Sana. You know, that's I forgot the name of the actor, but man, that movie had me crying when I was a kid. It had me crying when I was a kid. Yo, I don't know what you're doing over here, Master Yao, with them water elementals, but my alpha male Tabby is sitting over here in my lap like he's listening to your message, man. I don't know if I can. Yo, the cat is listening, family. Look, let me see if I can show you. Look, he's watching the show, man. He's listening. You see him? You see him? Yeah. He's queuing in on you, man. You know, the only thing he don't have is this little shot, you know, a Hennessy. But the cat tuned in. He was like, I think I need to check this out myself, you know? So thanks again.
Okay.
And family, just be mindful that stay strong. Stay strong. We love you all, and stay positive, and let's pray our way, chant our way, and drink plenty of water. Because Master Yao, I got to up my game with the water, man. You done took it to another level, man. You're doing water tantra. So I got to get my jug and do some tantra with the water.
Water elemental tantra is no joke.
I believe you. I'm looking at you. Yo, we can see it. You look like you done had like an injection of a combination, look like of youth and Buddha combined. You know, that's the only way I can describe it, because you could see his water aura, we could see it all around you, and the words you dropping, it was needed. So thank you again.
Okay, good
all
night.
Right. Night, everybody. Peace out.